the Biden administration has proven itself not to be competent. Don't take my word for it. Look at all the polling and look at the trend of the polling. Don't take the individual polls. We know the individual polls, they're not right. But look at the overall polls. Look at the polling averages. In Iowa, President Biden's popularity is now 39%. And do you know the number one reason for disapproval? Competence. Not COVID, not Afghanistan, not the economy, not inflation, competence. And when you dive into the competence numbers, what you find are a host of issues. His inability to steer the economy, his inability to take care of COVID, his inability to work with allies, and then Afghanistan. And Afghanistan itself is the number 2 issue in the polling. That Joe Biden's handling of Afghanistan has left a bad taste in people's mouths. Joe Biden is not competent, and it's not me saying that. It is the independent voters that both sides rely on to build coalitions, and the independent voters are fleeing towards the Republicans. And now you got the border. Democrats tried to turn the border into an issue against Donald Trump, and it worked. It did. In 2018, it did. Voters were very upset with the way the Republicans were handling the border, with the way Donald Trump was handling the border. Remember the drinking out of toilets argument? It wasn't really true. It was the way these particular toilet systems were designed. They had a water fountain built in, but it wasn't actually the toilet. It was a one plumbing unit for a toilet, for water, for everything. The Democrats blew that story up. The media amplified it. Then there were the kids in cages. Remember, Sarah Sanders, the White House press secretary, was asked to leave a restaurant. You had protesters show up at the Department of Homeland Security secretary's house. They harassed Mitch McConnell. All of these harassing episodes over treatment of kids at the border, over putting the kids in cages. We've now got a bunch of Haitians under a bridge in South Texas, and the kids are still in the cages, and the Democrats are pretending it's not so. People remember this sort of rank hypocrisy. Hypocrisy is the chief sin of the American people right now. If you're a big hypocrite, the American people turn on you. And here are the Democrats who made this a huge issue in the run-up to the 2018 midterms, and now suddenly they're dealing with the situation. It's their situation. It's gotten worse, and their solution is, we're just going to let these people into the United States without a COVID shot while you've got to have one or you're going to lose your job. I get, if you're a partisan Democrat, you want to defend this stuff, but among the American people, it's getting harder and harder to defend the things that you condemned when Donald Trump was doing them, and now you're doing them. It's getting harder and harder to defend, let's let illegal aliens into the United States without the COVID vaccine, but you're going to lose your job if you don't get one. It's hard to defend that sort of stuff. You're going to try. I know you're going to try, but for a lot of you on the left, rather, you will lay down in bed tonight and say, well, at least he's not Trump. For a lot of independent voters who didn't like Donald Trump, they're thinking, gosh, maybe I shouldn't have voted for this guy. We should have kept Trump. Or at least an alternative. And therein for the GOP is the needle you're going to have to thread. Do you stick with Donald Trump, who people rejected, unless you believe the stolen election mythology? Or do you go with a guy like a Ron DeSantis or a Tom Cotton or a Josh Hawley or a Nikki Haley or someone who can give you a lot of Trump policies without him? You got time to figure that out. Unfortunately for the Democrats, they don't have that time because they're in charge right now, and the voter backlash appears to be building pretty significantly against them in the run-up to the midterm elections.